Going to believe who I'm with here. My close personal friend, the one, the only, Mr. Mike Matheny.
I've never seen you before in my life.
All right, Mike, we can agree to disagree, but one thing we can agree on.
Get your baseball news at one Cardinal, one Cub, and one beer.
What's your favorite? Vince Hopper?
And the other guy?
JJ?
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to episode 152 of One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer. We are so excited because we are in the midst of playoff baseball. And even though my Cubbies have lost and they're not in it anymore, I'm still semi-happy. Huh? And that's as good as I can get as semi-happy, but doing okay. JJ, you know what people should do?
What should they do? Should they subscribe?
They should subscribe. They should subscribe, hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. And then they need to like us on Facebook.
Yeah,
and then if they want to contact us, it's so easy. All they have to do is reach out on one of our platforms or give us a phone call or just send us an old-fashioned email at onecard1cub1beer@gmail.com. JJ, you want to know what everybody should do? They should support us on Patreon for how much?
As low as $2, $5, $10,
$3. I think $3 are lowest. Something like that.
Okay.
It's stupidly cheap. I mean, it's really cheap. It's not like $3 when I was a kid. I had $3 when I was a kid, and oh man, I bought a motorcycle. That's how much a dollar went back then. But if you'd like to support our efforts, just go to patreon.com, and in the search bar, you search for One Cardinal, One Cup, and One Beer, and you can support our efforts, and that is greatly appreciated. JJ, how are you doing?
Always doing good, Vince. It's always good to be here, talk baseball. I was down in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, with some high school friends I spent 1 year with in ninth grade, and we've stayed in contact all these years, and our wives like each other, and these guys are just a blessing to be around. And Marlon, and they've both been on the show before. Marlon Dixon from Paragould, Arkansas, and he says he listens to every episode. He doesn't watch, he listens while he mows his yard. So he gets.
Well, what's he going to do in the winter?
I don't know. I guess when he's clearing his walks.
Okay.
He'll listen there. And then Chad Barner from Atlanta, Georgia, and he was all wrapped up in we were just down the street from the Tennessee Volunteers game, whoever they were playing. I don't keep track of college football, but very excited. And they let me watch a couple of games. And I tell you what, the playoffs have been exciting, Vince. I thought of you with the Cubs. I mean, it went down to the wire. We'll probably talk about that here in a little bit. But, my gosh, the playoffs have been so much fun. The Cardinals aren't there. But, it's still fun to watch all these teams battle it out for the championship this year.
It is. And you want to know what else is fun?
What's that?
Once a month, we do the beer corner.
It's time for the beer corner. All right. I got my lucky Mountain Dew here. I'll be observing.
A little story about this. This is Brewmaster's Premier. And if you've never heard of that,
I haven't heard
this is the Walmart beer.
Oh.
I was in Walmart today. I had to stop and get a few things. Popped into Fenton Walmart, got a few things for supper tonight. And I thought, I need to go see if they have any beers that I haven't done yet. And I saw this, and it was like 84 cents for one can. And I thought, that's cheaper than a soda. What is this?
Yeah, hey.
So I brought it home, and I did some research, and I found out that this is Walmart's beer. And there's not much information on it because Walmart just doesn't talk about their brewing process. So I'm sure that they have a third party that's making this beer for them. But I could not find any information. But I do know, this is what I know. This is the Walmart brand of beer that was introduced in 2025. So they haven't been carrying it that long. It is what you would call a budget beer, like Stag or, Natural Light, something like that.
Okay.
It was designed to rival like Miller High Life, Miller Light, or Michelob Ultra. And this is the light version, and it's a Pilsner, so I shall open.
All right.
And
it's the Old Roy's of beer right there.
That's right. I forgot about Old Roy. And I do have the Mighty Mox
Oh yeah.
mug. Go.
All right. I can hear it pouring.
Oh, it's beautiful. Not the best pour. Too big of a head, but
All right. That looks like something you see on an advertisement. It looks perfect.
oh, really? I thought it
Yeah,
looked
I
like
think so. They look like people like singing songs and got their arms around each other, a big, you know, sing along are going on.
well, let's see.
Oh, he's getting a good hydra. He's not going to cheat himself here.
Hey, that's not bad.
It's not bad. 84 cents. That's well spent money.
I'll give this a 3. I'm
Okay.
surprised. It's a little weak, which doesn't surprise me, but flavor wise, it's pretty good.
Now, did you get a diet beer? Maybe it's a diet one and it's not
Yeah, it's
quite
a
as
light
good.
beer.
Oh, it's a light beer. Okay.
Yeah, yep. So pretty good. So
Outstanding, man. So you
kudos to
recommend it?
Walmart. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Walmart is the Amazon of brick and mortar, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, JJ,
Yes, sir.
went to Gatlinburg and you had a
Yes.
good time. You got back
Oh,
in town and your house had flooded, right?
well, my son, he was here and he said that there was a leak underneath the kitchen sink. And okay, so first we were going to get a plumber, but we thought, wait a minute, let's go online, let's watch a little YouTube, let's try to figure something out. So we tried a little home remedy, did a little something. I'm not a professional, I'm a nurse by trade. And Vince, we let it set for about 2 days, and it's still leaking. So we're gonna have the plumber come in. We have to have the experts come in. I didn't get it done.
Are you going to get a gaseous plumber, a solid plumber, or a liquid plumber?
I'll take the cheapest plumber. How's that? We're going to go with the cheap route.
That would
Yeah,
be liquid plumber.
the liquid plumber.
All right. Well, let's get into it. I think the most fascinating thing, even maybe a little more fascinating than the playoffs because it came right out of left field, Mike Schilt retiring at the age of 57.
My gosh.
did did anybody see this coming?
No, I've heard on some of the talk radio, they thought maybe because there was so much expectation for the San Diego Padres, and they go through a lot of managers. I think since AJ Preller's been there, the next manager will be the eighth of his term while he's been the general manager, and that's only been 11 seasons. So 8 managers in 11 seasons. They've went through a lot of them. So that part doesn't surprise me, but I thought Mike Schilt did a great job. I didn't see, he said he was fatigued and just took everything out of him. Maybe, or maybe there's something more to it. Maybe he's just stepping down and it wasn't, there was some sort of conflict. I've heard, no one's saying anything. No one's leaking any information, but he's too good of a manager not to be in the game. So we'll see what happens.
I thought, okay, if he's just resigning, he would have said I'm resigning. But he did use the term retired. He's retiring. So, but we know that, Bruce Bochy's retired and Jack
Yes.
McCann retired.
Tony La Russa
Tony La
retired.
Russa retired.
He should have stayed retired, but he didn't.
Yeah. So who knows?
Yeah.
But boy, wouldn't it be nice to have made enough money that at the age of 57 you could say, yeah, I'm retired.
Oh, Vince, the folks I went to Gatlinburg with, I'm sorry I keep bringing this up, but I'm the oldest one, and I'm 4 of the 6 of us are retired. So I'm like, gosh darn it. Maybe one day that'll be me, but it's not going to be for a while. But yes, it would be nice to have enough money to retire. But that ain't me.
I don't know if I don't know what I would do if I retired. Oh, I'd never really retire. I just become a full-time woodworker and make no money.
You
That's what
do
I would.
whatever you want. Yeah. That's kind of the thing of it. I talk to a lot of veterans that come in and some of them retired at 52, some of them are just retired and about half of them love it, but half of them aren't crazy about retiring. They can't go out and do the things they once were able to. And they just basically say, if you want to do something, go do it now. before it gets too late and you just other things happen or some big expense come. Just enjoy your life. So I guess that's basically it. When you can, just go in and enjoy yourself. And maybe if you got a little trip you want to do, go do it, because none of us know what's going to happen tomorrow. But man, I look at it as like summer vacation in school. Like stay up late, watch the monster movies, go to the gym, work on some sort of tan. I got this white. I mean, if I stand against the white wall, you couldn't see me. So maybe I'll get some color to myself. Just change my work life.
Have you ever went into a tanning bed?
My cousin had one, and his name's Andrew Jackson. He had one, and this guy looked like, he looked like George Hamilton. Looked like George Hamilton. Well, I tried it once. It was relaxing. It was kind of relaxing, to be honest with you. But I did do it once.
I had good oral psoriasis, and so they suggested I had to take the coal tar baths and steroids and everything. They suggested that I do a tanning bed. I couldn't stand it. It was hot. I don't like to sweat. I really don't. I don't know why, but I just do not like it. Just laying there and I was sweating. I had the thing over my eyeballs.
Yeah.
And of course, being me being me, I didn't tan. I just burned.
Oh,
I only went once. And then when I went back to the doctor, he's looking at my psoriasis. It's getting better. You doing in a tanning bed? I said, I tried once. I can't do it. I, yeah, I don't like sweating, which is
yeah.
which is weird because I do stuff that makes me sweat, but I don't like it. It's like, "Grr."
Well, I understand. Some people say it's very relaxing. I don't think it's good for you. A lot of people have had some health issues from uh, using the tanning bed a lot, but I'm not in any danger of that. One time in 61 years isn't too bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what other kind of baseball news we got going on? This is a baseball podcast after all.
Oh, yeah. Hey, can I talk about our contest?
You sure can.
We've got our World Series contest. We had 18 contestants. Let me find my notes here. We had 18 contestants starting this thing off. And what happened was in the first round, basically you're naming the team you think is going to win the World Series. Then the opponent is a tiebreaker, and the amount of games you think the World Series is going to go is a second time tiebreaker. Well, through the first round, we lost 3 contestants. We lost, let me see here. One of our folks thought Boston would win. And then we had a couple people thought the Padres would win. So they were out. Yes. So then the second round, we lost 7 people. So we went from 18 down to 8 is what we have. Yeah, to the people we've lost, salute. But when we had the Yankees lose, that knocked out some people. We had the Phillies lose, which, by the way, in Vegas was the odds-on favorite to win the World Series. Well, the Phillies are gone now. We also had, and a lot that took most of our folks out in the second round. So we just have a few people left. We've got, I had all my statistics here, and I can't believe I cannot find these things right now. I had all kinds of stats. So let's see. We got 1, 2. Oh, okay. I got this. Phillies. So we have 8 left. We've got people saying the Dodgers, Seattle. We have 1 Milwaukee person that thinks Milwaukee's going to win it. And so it's kind of exciting. And only 2 people have both teams left. There's 2 people that has said Seattle to beat the Dodgers. So they still have both teams alive, and both of them said in 6 games. So we've got some smart listeners out there. Let's see if that happens. It's very exciting, and I've talked to a lot of these people, and some of them will work together and laugh when they knock the other one off, things like that. So it's going to be fun. We got some prizes for the winner, and if 2 people win, I'll have to come up with double the prizes. but that's okay. This is going to be kind of fun. And right now, the people left in this is John Maddie, the comedian John Maddie. He's got Seattle. He's got Seattle to beat the Padres. He's still got Seattle though. Paul Williams, not the Paul Williams, a different Paul Williams. He's got Milwaukee to beat the Yankees. Ray Hartman's wife, Victoria, has Seattle to beat the Dodgers. How about that? Jana Laus, she's got Seattle to beat San Diego. Kevin Lee has Seattle to beat Philadelphia. And Chris Lodike has the Dodgers to beat the Yankees. And Chad Barner has Seattle to beat the Dodgers. So that's our contestants that's still alive in this, and it's going to be fun. And Vince, we're already in the third round. It's already started.
Oh yeah. Oh, in the sad news,
Yes.
Sandy Alomar passed away. He played from 64 to 78 with the Braves, Mets, White Sox, Angels, Yankees, and Rangers. He's a middle infielder. Usually a bench player. He played some outfield, but I was surprised to find out that he was an all-star in 1970. So, wow. He was with the Angels and they had a poor team, so they had someone to represent. So maybe that was him. But he's probably best known as the father of Roberto and Sandy Alomar Jr. So,
what a legacy there. Two very fantastic, one Hall of Famer and another very great one. Vince, I always think of him as a coach. He coached from 86 to 09 with the Padres, your Cubbies.
yes, he did.
The Rockies and the Mets. So, he was gone from his active career by the time I came around and became a big fan. And he was more of a guy I would see on the sidelines and the dugouts, and then later known ultimately for being the father of those two incredible baseball players right there.
And former All-Star for the Red Sox, Mike Greenwell, passed away. He played from 85 to 96. He was an All-Star in 88, 89, and 88 he won the Silver Slugger. And he was 89 was really his 89 he was an all-star, but his numbers weren't that great. He was kind of riding the wave off the previous year. But in 88 he had over 100 RBIs, had like 22 home runs, and had like 190 hits. And he was the guy who took over for Dwight Evans in right field in Boston. So he passed away from cancer, and just seems weird that these people that I saw play are passing away. But I guess that's better than them watching me pass away.
Well, you know what? That is true. That is true. I think of him, Vince. I always thought, wow, what the Red Sox, they always come up with these great hitting outfielders. It's always been, man, they're like the Dodgers with their pitchers, the Red Sox with their outfielders. And I remember Greenwell in 88, that was the year he hit 303. He was the runner-up for the MVP that year, and that was the year that Jose Canseco got that 40-40 season, and he won the American League MVP. But Greenwell was right behind him. If it hadn't been something big like that 40-40 year, I think Greenwell would have won the MVP. Always enjoyed watching him. Solid player, and those Red Sox teams just hit the cover off the ball, and he was one of those players. So rest in peace. I always was a big fan of Greenwell. Never really got to see him play because in our day, they didn't show the American League except for All-Star and playoffs time.
Yeah. We also had Ellis Burks on that team. They had some talent, man. They
always a hitting team. Don Baylor, that guy, man, he could hit. If I was a pitcher, I'd walk by half of those guys and been out of a job the first game I pitched.
Now, do you have any other news, or do you want to jump into the playoffs?
Well, you talked about Schilt, but there was 9 jobs open in baseball. There's only 30 teams, and it's hard for me to remember everything we talked about. But Skip Schumacher got the Rangers job,
yes,
and Derek Shelton, who was the Pirates manager, has been hired on for the Minnesota job. So there's 2 jobs that's been filled, but there's still a lot of teams out there, and I mean, so much is going on with who's going to end up where. Right now, we got the playoffs in the World Series, but just today, I don't know if you knew this, but they're going to announce the finalists for the Gold Gloves today because there's a St. Louis radio station up at Rawlings, the Rawlings Experience, and they're up there to tell everybody who the finalists are for the Gold Gloves. So that's kind of cool. There's always something going on with baseball. Not only right now, everybody's focused on the playoffs and World Series. Deservedly so. There shouldn't be any other news going on. But there's little things happening, and I think soon as this season's over, there's going to be a lot of action. It's going to be fun. So,
See,
anyway,
I'm curious what the Twins saw in Shelton, or if that was a situation where he just blew him away with an interview. I know he was managing a terrible team, no offense, just a terrible team.
yes,
So I don't blame the bad record on him, but with some of the other names that are out there, I would have thought, I, I don't know. It seemed like if you're going to hire Shelton, why didn't you just keep Baldello? Well, Rocco Baldelli, um, because he
yeah.
took playoffs a couple times, and yeah, I know you didn't go far, but Diesel Beazle, in one bad year this year, and they wasn't going to make the playoffs, especially after the trade deadline when they got rid of
Almost
like
half their team.
nine
Yeah.
players, three bat boys, a few fans they traded over.
You know, in the game of baseball, you run into a lot of people. Maybe he had some sort of connections with the general manager, or he had been in a system before. I don't know a whole lot about Mr. Shelton, except that when he coached him, I could see him from afar and thought he did a heck of a job with what he had. But I'm with you, Vince. There's so many big names out there. You would think they'd go maybe even a legacy player. I thought Torrey Hunter was even on a short list for a few teams. And man, he's kind of one of the all-time great Minnesota Twins that is available to manage. So I thought he'd be perfect for them, but who knows? But anyway, we'll have to watch him next year. And that Central Division usually is always pretty a lot of competition. All five teams are hanging in there fighting it out. So we'll see, except the White Sox of recent days. I'm sorry, I got carried away, but there were years the White Sox were pretty good, but here lately, no.
Oh, well, I hope that some of the managers that are hired will be first timers, people getting a shot at it, see what they can do. Um, the, the the job that's going to be the most sought after is going to be in San Diego, and I could see David Ross landing there.
Ooh, that'd be a good spot. Yeah.
He's kind of a player's manager, and I I think that that would be maybe something beneficial to. I I know baseball. It's the most difficult sport. Hitting is so difficult. Uh, but when you play three games against the Cubs and your two best hitters just don't show up, yeah, I
Yeah, what else are you
because
gonna do?
they weren't facing Kate Horton, they wasn't facing Justin Steele. They were facing basically 3, 4, and 5 in our rotation, and they still didn't hit. Of course, Council was bringing in the relief corps about the second inning. So,
That is true. That's one sign of the things that's going on in the playoffs. Man, Vince, you think you got a good rotation. Seems like the teams don't hardly have enough pitching. Now you look at this, they're going to bullpen games, they're yanking guys out quick, running them in there. Seattle's bringing people back on 3 days rest. It's been unpredictable kind of playoffs this year.
yeah, I'll bring something. I'll kind of revisit that a little bit later. The first round of the playoffs, or went to the second round of the playoffs, and Toronto beat New York 3-1, and they beat them pretty handily. Were you surprised how well Toronto handled New York?
Vince, yes and no. I thought they'd win, but I didn't think as easily as they did. The Yankees are just a power team. They power people into the dirt, but their defense, I just thought that was their liability this year. I thought they were the weakest defensive team of the 8 teams left, and at that time, and I just thought that was going to be the bugaboo that was going to bite them was, and then they're missing Cole as well. I mean, that's the ace of their team. So those two things there, but how they took care of them. I'm telling you what, Dalton Vershawn is having. He's a name most of us know, but he's really in the spotlight. He's really put on a show. Great defensive player. I've enjoyed that guy over the years anyway, but
Boy, in last night's game, that triple that Garver hit,
yeah,
I don't know what Barsha was doing. I mean, that was for a Gold Glove caliber center fielder. He was turning all over the place and could not get a beat on that ball. And then when he got to the ball was a foot or two away from where he was at, and you let Mitch Garver get a triple. 34 years old, bald headed, lumbering. So
yeah, he's not the most fleet of foot. That is true.
but yeah, I was so surprised when that ball went out there. I thought, oh well, that's going to be caught, and he was like turning, and I thought, boy, I don't watch him play a lot, but he certainly looked lost on that one.
They usually blame Judge because he's the guy that comes up and is phenomenal. But Judge had a good series. He actually 4 walks, a couple doubles, a home run. I believe he hit 600 in that series. But they don't have to pitch to him. They took their they try to force him to try to create something and get him out, and he didn't fall for it. He took his walks and everything else. But I've got a stat here that kind of Toronto hit 338 in that series, and the Yankees hit 250. And that's kind of the story of the whole that whole Toronto team. That's a deep lineup, and they just about hit them,
Yeah,
So congratulations. I mean, those scores were 10-1, 13-7 by Toronto. Yankees did have a 9-6 win, but the Toronto still scored 6 runs, and then they shut them down in that fourth game and won 5-2. So you're right. They looked just dynamite and took care of the Yankees right there.
and the other American League divisional series, Seattle beat Detroit 3-2. Boy, Detroit making it that far, I'm kind of proud of them.
I am too, Vince. I am too. That's a very good Seattle team. And, you focus on the big boys, but that Polanco guy at second base, I mean, he's always been a very good player. But when you think of them, you're thinking of, Julio Rodriguez and the big dumper and maybe a Rosarina with all his playoff history. But Polanco was, man, he was that that straw that stirred the drink. He was on base all the time. Outstanding.
Did you watch the 15-inning game?
Yes, I did. Everybody was asleep. It's an hour. It's the East Coast in Gatlinburg. They were in bed. I was the only one awake. I think it was like 1:30 in the morning there, and I watched
5 hour
it. It was like a boxing match. Each team had the other one on the ropes. One of the best games I've ever seen, Vince, with that on the line, because it went 5 games right there, and what an exciting game. I mean, they used everybody. The starters came out. And the only thing I have to say about that game is a lot of people thought, well, Seattle used all their pitchers in that 15-inning game, and they're going to have to start right up into the next round. Well, all their pitchers are going to be spent, but baseball is a peculiar game. You can't guess what's going to happen. The common sense would tell you, yeah, they're going to be hurting for a couple of games, but that hasn't been the case at all.
Yeah, so Seattle's moving on, and in the American League, the Dodgers defeated the Phillies 3-1, and the Phillies had their chances,
Yes,
and in the end, the Dodgers, they can club you to death or they can pull a rabbit out of their hat. There's just so many ways they can beat you, and even though they're a little banged up, every team's a little banged up right now. They're so deep. It's like, my goodness, keep coming.
Righties, lefties, the starters, they've got so much. I mean, they've got about 7 starting pitchers. Now those guys go in the bullpen. You're just going to have to stand there and just keep going at them and play flawless. I think you're going to have to play flawless to beat them. But Vince, the thing I take away from that series, it was in game 4 because the Dodgers won 3-1. Bases were loaded, hit back to the pitcher, and instead of going to first, he went home and threw a wild pitch home, and the Dodgers win the world, go to the next round. They win the series. I felt so bad for that relief pitcher. He's done great all year, and it's like Bill Buckner at the plate at first. People are going to remember that, but I love that guy just wanted to go in the locker room, and the coach grabbed him and I'm sure said some wonderful things to him. That's what the game's all about. His teammates stood up for him, and like, we wouldn't be here without you. But my goodness, when all the spotlight's on you, oh, that's got to be a horrible thing to throw a wild pitch home and kind of cost
Yeah,
you the game.
and I liked what Castellano said. As soon as he did it, the first thing I wanted to do was just I made a beeline for him. I wanted to tell him, don't let this define you. We wouldn't be here without you. And I I guess it's because of the way I was coached. The way I was coached, you think ahead, okay, what am I going to do if the ball is hit this way or that way? What are my options? What's the best thing? And if I was pitching, and I'm not saying I'm better than this guy because I'm not, I don't have the talent, but I'm just saying the way I was coached, if I was pitching and the comebacker comes to me, I would have already had my mind turn and throw to first. Um, and I think he had that in his mind, but I think he kind of panicked and thought, well, the throw home is faster, but his feet wasn't set for that throw home, and there it went. And I even liked what the Dodgers said. Like Mookie Betts, like, yeah, I feel terrible for the guy. It was hard to go out there and celebrate when as an athlete, because every athlete's done this. We've all done boneheaded things that
Yes.
that he's hurting terribly. So I felt sorry for him. I hope he doesn't let this define him. I hope he doesn't go off the deep end or something. But I do think that Philadelphia group's a tight knit group. They've been through a lot together. They've been to a World Series together, and they've got great leadership. A lot of people don't like Bryce Harper. I love him.
I do too.
He's a gamer. He sticks up for his teammates. Um, and I'm not saying I endorse players who fight, but if there's going to be a scrape up, he's going to be the first one to jump in there. Um, he's and I really started liking him whenever he said about 5 years ago, "That's a clown question, bro." I thought, oh, that's
Yeah. He was with the Nationals. He went over to Philadelphia. That's where he wanted to play, and he's embraced in that city, which can be pretty rough. I mean, if you don't show up or they think you're lollygagging or something, they're on you. So that's a tough place to play, and they've embraced him, and it's just a perfect fit for him there. I'd like to see him win one day. I mean, if we're not in it, might as well. But I have to say, I came away thinking this too. The Dodgers, that's a classy organization. They're good. They could rub your face in it. Dave Roberts is a really good manager, and he's very respectful of the other teams. I mean, he was a guy that worked his butt off to play in the big leagues. He's know what it takes, and he works with all these superstars, and they just seem to play so flawlessly together. I know they got all the talent in the world, but they don't have to be nice. They don't, and they're just very respectful and professional. And I hate to say it, I don't want them to win, but man, they're a bunch of nice guys that play the game the right way. If you get them at second, they pop up and usually say, "Are you okay?" If there's a little collision or something like that. And I notice those little things like that. And I'm like, darn it, man, them Dodgers, that's a classy organization right there.
well, the Dodgers two of their leaders are two of the nicest people who are great on the microphone in baseball, Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts. You're not going to find more classy guys. People who play against them always talk about they are great guys. They're fun, great guys. And so when you've got that setting the tone for your team, um, and like Teoscar Hernandez is a very nice guy. You see him interviewed. He's just a fun-loving
Yeah.
guy too. Um, Justin Turner was there for so many years, and everybody likes Justin Turner. They're Tommy Edmonds is a nice guy. They are hard to dislike. I don't dislike the players. I dislike the organization for what they're doing.
Yeah,
I don't
that is true.
I don't think that's in the best interest of baseball. Now we'll get to the other series in the divisional round. Milwaukee defeated the Cubs 3-2. Am I upset? No, I'm not upset. And I'll tell you why I'm not upset. We defeated a very good Padres team 3-0.
Yes.
And we did it with basically our 3, 4, and 5 pitchers having to pick up the slack. And we were going very quick to the bullpen to survive. That wasn't going to sustain. We were going to run out of gas, and even if we would have won that last game, we are going to run out of gas unless Hort comes back and can give us 6 innings, because the bullpen is going to be gassed. Remember, we have an older bullpen. We have Pomerantz, we have Keller, we have Thielbar,
Kittredge.
Yeah, we don't have a young bullpen, and it's not like the '06 Cardinals with all them young arms they just kept bringing in. This is an older bullpen, and they're going to get tired quicker. So I did not think that we were going to go that much longer. I before the playoffs, I texted Brendan, Rebecca's boyfriend, good luck, and he actually said to me, if we lose, it's going to be the worst day of my life. And I thought, oh my. And I get it, because so many times we lost in the playoffs or whatever, and it was the worst day of my life. But I thought that Milwaukee has a better team. We're not there yet. We are still chasing down Milwaukee. And even though we won the season series, I think by 1 game against them this year, we ended up, I think, 8-8 total against them, including the playoffs. But we don't have what they have. We don't have players who step up, and that's what they have. Bryce Terang having a terrible series, goes up there in Game 5 and hits a home run that basically iced it. So we don't have what they have. We also don't have Jackson Churio, who is proving to be one of the top players in the National League. Was I angry that the Brewers fan had a white flag with an L on it? No, I thought it was kind of funny.
I saw that too.
And maybe it's me because I've lived in St. Louis for so long and I've been trolled by so many things that it's like, I thought that was kind of, yeah, I get it. You have all these fans in your stadium and now you're sticking it to them. Yeah, you have money to buy tickets to our, but we're going on. So I do think that we need a front of the rotation starter, and then Horton be a number 2 if Steele comes back a number 3. Imanaga could opt out. I don't know. Probably won't, because he had such a bad second half. He's probably gonna think, I better just stay here and make my money. I don't know. And then Tyone will be back next year, and he's going to be back in the rotation starter. So we need someone who can come in the first game of the playoffs and throw 6 or 7 innings and have swing and miss stuff. And we did not have that in this series. So in a way, I'm kind of surprised we got this far because we don't have that stud. We don't have a David Peralta. We don't have a Blake Snell. We don't have that guy at the front of the rotation right now. Um, Maybe Horton is that guy. He had a heck of a second half, but he wasn't there. So we were going to have troubles. Um, my thoughts on Council, I thought he made one blunder during this playoff, and that was starting Boyd on uh,
Oh, yes.
3 days rest. I think he should have went with Colin Ray, especially against David Peralta, and rolled the dice that we could do something with Peralta. But we didn't. We started Boyd. We burned him. I don't even think got out in the second inning. When he came back with proper rest, he pitched great. So, um, and Boyd is also probably going to be our fourth starter next year. So if we can get a frontline starter, I think we got a heck of a rotation. The bullpen, who knows who will be back? We're going to Thielbar, Pomerantz, Keller. They're all going to go into free agency, and they're going to get good contracts based upon what they did this year. So we'll probably have to do a little bit of rebuilding in the bullpen. But I'm pretty happy with what we got. Now, the two things that I don't think Kyle Tucker's coming back. I I don't remember exactly how he said it. Something like, "Well, if I don't come back, it's been great playing with these guys. They're very talented." But he verbalized it in such well, he texted it in such a way that made us think, "I'm not coming back." I don't care if he doesn't come back. He was a detriment to this team from the All-Star game on. He was. We were a much better team with Suzuki in right field, and you can't do this. But in a perfect world, I would have had Ballesteros playing DH and not Tucker. Tucker had one good game, and that was game 4, where he hit the home run and had another hit. Other than that, he disappeared. And in that last game, we really only had one scoring chance. We had runners on first and second, and I think at that time there was um, nobody out and Tucker up, and he had a 3-1 count, and the next pitch was a fastball right down the middle, a fat pitch, and he swung through it. And then the next pitch was just a perfect pitch on the outside corner that he watched for strike 3. And he didn't even move the runners along. If he would have moved the runners along, Suzuki was up next, hit that deep fly ball. That would have tied the game. Could have been different. But Tucker really didn't add anything to this team from the second half on. So I would not pay that kind of money for him. I would rather see us put Suzuki back in right field. Suzuki's not a terrible outfielder.
No.
It's just when he makes an error, it's a head scratcher. Once a year, the ball's just going to pop out of his glove, an easy fly ball. And you're like, how did he do that? But I would rather see Suzuki in right field and DH with Ballesteros. Ballesteros in limited action hit like 290 something for us, had a couple of home runs. And everywhere he has been, he has hit. He's only 21 or 22. There's your DH. And he's also your third string catcher. If we bring Carson Kelly back, and we have Amaya, and we do that, you've got Ballesteros, who's going to be that next player. That would also possibly open up the opportunity for a Alcantara or a Owen Casey to be the fourth outfielder and kind of, be the backup, split some time, get some at bats, DHing. So I think it's just time to move on from Tucker. The other issue is Matt Shaw had flashes this year, and he had like a 4-week stretch after the All-Star break where he was really hot, and then he got ice cold, and then he just didn't show up for the playoffs. Just looked completely overmatched. And I know that pitching is much harder in the playoffs. Everything is magnified, more difficult, but he looked completely overmatched throughout the whole series, both series. So I don't know. I don't want to give up on him yet, but if we're going to win next year, do we get a third baseman who is more of a bat to ball type of person? Because that's what we really missed this year. That's what we missed in the playoffs. Someone besides Horner, everybody else, way too many strikeouts.
Oh,
And
yes.
Tucker, bat to ball type player, he just wasn't the second half. He had, he would either roll over and do that little ground out to second base, or he struck out too much for my flavor. And that's why I like Ballesteros, because he is a bat to ball type of person. So I think this team's going to look different this year. I'm very proud of them. Um, I I don't hang my head. I am rooting for the Brewers. I am rooting for Seattle because I think every team should have a parade. I
Oh,
really do, because the coolest thing about the World Series for me, winning the World Series in 2016, was watching the parade and watching the fans and watching all that. That is so cool. So,
it, it is special. Vince, as good as Milwaukee is, and they deserve the home field advantage, I think that's what it came down to. The Cubbies gave the Brewers everything they could handle. In the first two games, it was 9-3, 7-3. I mean, Milwaukee clearly won those games, but it went back to Chicago. And I have to say this, the Brewer fans, fantastic. The Cub fans, fantastic. It was a lively, it was packed, you could just feel the tension in the air. They were on every pitch. Two strikes, they're standing up and they're giving it. And then when they come back to Chicago, the Cubs went 4-3 and 6-0. But it came down to that final game, and I'm telling you what, 3-1. That's a fantastic game. A hit here, a play there, it all could have changed. It was just a very good series to sit and watch. You're right. I think Nico Horner was the best hitter for you guys. He was 9 for 20 with a home run and RBI and hit 450. He only struck out twice in the series,
yeah,
but
against great pitching. He was,
against top notch pitching,
yeah,
yes. And that Miz kid came. He had some. He was really up high, and then he came down low, and then the playoffs came a little shaky at first, but man, he was worth the price of admission. He was a big difference. He pitched in two of those games and really looked pretty good. I mean, he's a special talent. That's the type of guy the Cardinals and the Cubs both need. We need that top of the rotation guy like that. Maybe a little more experience though, but yeah. So I applaud him. And Chicago, great fan base, Brewers too, and I just think it meant. And you guys have a great feud going with them, and I know it's always been the Cubs kind of just one upping them, and they finally got over the hump right there. And I hope that wasn't their World Series, and they come alive and take it to these Dodgers in the next round. But that was my takeaway from it. It was fantastic series.
well, in the league championship series right now, Seattle is leading Toronto 2 games to nothing, and both games have been in Toronto. Seattle has woke up.
Yes, that's a great pitching staff. And Vince, what are we watching? Kyle Riley, a catcher, which hitting catcher. There was a play in the second round where Detroit was just going to go for it, and they tried to steal. The guy got a great jump, should have been a stolen base, and Riley threw a laser beam and put it on the guy's thigh, sliding in there. And they looked at the replay, and he got him. This kid, I'm telling you what, and he's so humble, like, oh geez, kind of guy. And I just absolutely love him. What a defensive player. He's such a power hitter. You forget all about that. He's a gold glover. So my gosh, we're seeing something special. I haven't seen a catcher of this magnitude. Maybe Johnny Bench was the last one, I think, or something like that. So if you want to pick a player and kind of watch, that's the guy right there. I'm really impressed by him.
Well, I could not believe that the games haven't been competitive in Toronto.
I
So when they go back to Seattle, um, I see this going 5 games at the most.
Vince, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. And now the pitching performance of the year. and maybe the weirdest game, well, the playoffs, and maybe the weirdest game so far. Los Angeles leads Milwaukee 1-0. Blake Snell, 100 pitches, 8 innings, 1 hit. He had faced the minimum. Do you bring him out for the ninth inning, leading 2-0?
I think I would give him an opportunity. I think I would. Sometimes if you bring a new pitcher in, Vince, they might look good in the bullpen, but something, there's just something off. And why mess with something that's going so well? He gave up a hit to the first guy, and nobody else got a hit the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Knowing what I know now, it's easy to say that. But when I saw him leaving, I was like, oh, the way he's pitching, give him 13, 15 pitches, and he'll be through with this game.
And I've said this many times on here. I'm not a huge Ian Snell fan because he's got a lot of moving parts, and when they're not working, he walks a lot of batters. But when all the parts are moving right in his windup and his delivery, he is unhittable. And I thought, okay, they got Sasaki that they're using as a closer right now. I would let Snell finish this up. And what happened? Sasaki walked a few players. They loaded the bases, and the I know why Bryce Terang did not let that ball hit him, because it's a reflex.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you play the game, you do try to get out of the way. I mean, unless you're Don Baylor, he would always just sort of turn, and take one off of the thigh or something. But yeah, it's coming in hard. I know he probably, if he had to do over again and knew it was coming, he'd probably take it off the thing. And he's getting some people out there criticizing him. 99.9% of us would do that unless it's a Fernando Vina or somebody like that.
But you have your Don Baylors, your Anthony Rizzos, your Ron Hunts. You have players who that's a part of their game. I'm going to get hit by pitches. I don't get out of the way. That is a part of their game. But for 98% of major league players, it's a reflex.
Yes.
The ball's coming at you, you get out of the way. That wasn't the egregious thing. The egregious thing was when he swung at the pitch that was a ball that, would have tied the score.
Oh,
and New York or Los Angeles ended up stealing a game in Milwaukee. And they've done what they need to do. They needed to take a game in Milwaukee, and they've done it. I'm not saying they're not going to try tonight and win tonight. I'm not going to say they can't win tonight. I'm saying when you go into a game, into a series, and you're the team with the weaker record and you don't have home field advantage, you have to steal a game, one of those first two games at your opponent's place, in order to really have a shot. Case in point, the Cubs got down 2-0 and they tied it 2-2, but you're playing a good team who's probably not lost too many 3 games in a row all year long. You're kind of playing with fire unless you can steal one of those games. And the Dodgers shouldn't have stole that game. They should have outright won it. But the ninth inning was so bizarre, it ended up they stole the game. So Brendan was not happy. Rebecca is home right now. She leaves tomorrow, so she was watching the game from here. So she was like, oh my gosh, so.
Well, Vince, I have a question for you. I'm going to sort of set this up and then see what you think about this. There was a bizarre play. Sal Frelick, who is a Gold Glove right fielder, is in center. Bases are loaded, 1 out. He goes up against the wall to catch a ball. The ball goes out of the glove, hits the wall. He catches it before it hits the ground. There was confusion on the base pads. Comes up throwing to Ortiz, who throws to Contreras. So that's all. What? I've never seen anything like that. I think there was confusion with the runner at third, had to be. And what did you think of that? I thought that was the wildest play I've ever seen.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up last because that was even more bizarre than the Terang getting out of the way. in the playoffs, you do have the outfield umpires. That's got to be communicated faster. That was not a catch. And I don't know if it was the crowd, if the umpires didn't communicate it quick enough or what, but it was it was kind of like, what do we do? We're not sure what just happened. Did he catch the ball? Is it a catch or not? And so
I saw the third base ump point and said something, but I couldn't hear what he said. But I seen him as soon as it went up and the ball got loose, he pointed. But I think there was, like you said, so much noise and confusion because they don't know if he caught it in the air, so they got to stay there and go back and tag. And then Contreras, being smart, that was a close play at the plate. He went down to just touch third, got the double play. And so the people, I'm watching it with Brody, and we're like, what's going on? And then even the umpires had to get together and talk about it. And
yeah,
that was bizarre.
yeah, it was bizarre. But yes, something, yeah, I can see during the regular season something like that happen. But it seems to me in the playoffs, when you do have the outfield umpires, that it's got to be communicated quicker. And I do understand that it was so loud that you couldn't hear your thoughts. But I don't know what you do. I really don't know what you do to remedy that. But that's home field advantage right there.
You're exactly right.
Why you fight for it?
Yeah. Vince, I heard the home field advantage, how that even came about. This is what I read, that in the old days, they didn't have a fence. They just had a rope up and the fans would stand. They didn't even have seats. And if the ball was a foul ball, if it was your team, you would push the rope in a little bit so the guy couldn't reach in there and catch it. And if it was the other team, you pull the rope back so the guy had a little extra room to catch the foul ball. So there was that was going on at the time. And that was what they called home field advantage right there, because they were alternating the playing surface a little bit.
Definitely, definitely. Is there any Cardinal news?
Very little. Vince, with the internet now, we're so old, the internet was not a big part of our lives for most of our lives, but you always hear these rumors like, and a lot of the rumors are about the Cardinals catchers. We actually have 4 guys that can catch on our roster, and three of our top 5 prospects are catchers. So there's been a lot of rumors like, the Padres really interested in Jimmy Crooks, who is a very good young catcher. He's only played a little bit, like a month in the big leagues, but his minor league stats were phenomenal. And the Cardinals need pitching. We need depth. We need a little bit of everything. So there's been a lot of rumors about maybe a couple of our catchers are being packaged with other players for, Chaim Bloom's probably got different priorities. He sees things a little bit different. He's been down there looking at these players. So we're probably going to see some movement once the World Series is over. So just a lot of talk about us moving some of our catchers, because we got 7 of them about ready to go right now. I think the one in AA is not ready for a couple more years, but we got about 6 out there that could probably play on the big leagues right now and probably move a couple of those guys. Really the big news is at Busch Stadium next year, the Savannah Bananas are coming back. So at least we got 2 sellouts, Vince. There'll be 2 sellouts, opening day and the 2 games of Savannah Bananas play at Busch Stadium. But that's about it. And there's talk, Vince, I've been looking at different sites. There's talk that Ozzie Smith may take a different role with the team, like a roving instructor. I've read that, but nothing's been said. But anyway, Ozzie just wants to be a bigger part of the organization. So I would love to see that. If that's what he wants to do, and that'd be fantastic with me. So that's pretty much it in Cardinal news right now.
Boy, I know a great trade partner with the Cardinals. The Pirates need catching because that Henry Davis just has not worked out, and they have so many live young arms. I mean, they're not all Paul Skeens, but they have some great arms, young arms that are major league ready or on the verge.
Yeah,
That'd be a great trade partner. But then again, I'm not the general manager.
right.
And
You know what? Vince, you're getting my vote right now. Let's put Vince in there. Of course, he might sabotage it a little bit. He'll get all of our talent to go over to Chicago then.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you could trade us Jimmy Crooks and we'll trade you oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. All your players are good. I know you talk about that Ben Brown guy, but if he could just have a little more control, that guy is going to be something
Oh, he
special
could put
right
it
there.
together. Yeah, I love his stuff. It just can't put it together.
Yeah.
The only other thing I'll add with Cubs news is, um, yeah, Council. You know, I think he made one big blunder with. Yeah, he made a few other things that, you know, in hindsight maybe you do different, but you know that's baseball. Some stuff works. You just got to press the right buttons. I did not think he pressed the right button was starting Boyd in the first game. Um, Now I'm going to really quickly talk about the real reason why we're out of the playoffs. Trade deadline. Mike Soroka for two top 10 prospects was stupid. And I know that the big arms were asking for too much. They were asking for Horton and Matt Shaw, and you don't do that. But there was other pitchers out there that I think could have helped. Um, One of them was Charlie Morton. I really like his curveball. I know he's like 63 years old now, but I really thought, boy, that would and he was giving up for peanuts. So I think the biggest failure this year, if you're going to point a finger to why we didn't go further, was you can put it on Carter Hawkins' shoulder and Jed Hoyer's shoulder. They were not willing to give up prospects to get pitching. And when they did, it was Mike freaking Soroka. I did not get that. But anyway, you know who else didn't get it?
Uh, Jeremy?
Jeremy Connor just did not get that.
No, Jeremy Connor. He's always on it.
Comes a time in every man's life when he needs some advice on relationships. You need to listen to the podcast DMDR, which stands for Dating, Marriage, Divorce, Remarriage, from my good friend Jeremy Connor, the Dr. Phil of the Boot Hill. You can find DMDR on Spotify or whatever platform you choose to listen to your podcast. JJ had a great idea. Why don't we talk about our top 5 playoff moments of our lives? And I thought this was awesome.
Oh,
So JJ is going to do the American League, and I'm going to do the National League. You want to start us off?
Why, of course. I went through and just looked back and my memory and things that was going on. And, now remember before 1969, there was no playoff. It just went straight to the World Series. So then and then after 69, there was one playoff round, one game, one series, and then the World Series. Then I think it was 96. There was 2 rounds, and now we got 3 rounds. But some of the players that really stood out in the playoffs, not the World Series so much, but my first one is 1993, Dave Stewart. Dave Stewart was a journeyman that came up and he had jobs and pitched for several different teams. But when he hit with the Oakland A's and Dave Duncan, he became something special. And he had those 4 20-game seasons in a row. But the playoff appearance I really remember was in 1993. And at this time, Dave was 36 years old. He was near the end of his career, and he was sort of just a veteran. Sometime you're the rookie, and then you become the starter. Maybe you become a superstar, and then you become the old veteran, and then you're just a guy that could really help with another team. Well, he got traded over to Toronto Blue Jays, and that year, even at the age of 36, he still threw 162 innings. And that year, the Toronto beat the White Sox in the playoffs in the 1993 playoffs 4-2, and that's the year that Toronto goes on and beats the Phillies with Mitch Williams and Joe Carter. And that Toronto Blue Jay team was just star-studded. But in Game 2, he beat Alex Fernandez 3-1, and he came back and pitched in Game 6, and he faced Alex Fernandez again and beat him 6-3. And in that series, he pitched. I got the stats here. He pitched, I believe it was 12.1 innings and got 13.1 innings and had an ERA of 2.03. He was 2-0, and he only gave up 3 runs in both of those total on both starts. What an outing. It came out of nowhere, and it was basically because the way it fell, he pitched in 2 and 6 and just was fantastic. And having a veteran like that, you know, a lot of people want to fall in with these electric arms, but a guy that's been around and knows how to pitch can be a big part of a team. And when he went over there, he was just a missing ingredient in that pitching staff. And I just loved watching him pitch because they were just trying to line him up, and he would throw change-ups, high fastballs, get him to chase it. And watching Dave Stewart, he still had it at the age of 36 and helped them get on to the World Series and win it that year. So Dave Stewart was my number 5 in the American League.
Hey, my number 5 in the National League is Game 1 of the 1984 playoffs, and I call this the Rick Sutcliffe game. And because the Cubs lost this playoff to the Padres, who went to the World Series, this game's kind of forgotten. But Sutcliffe pitched 7 innings, only gave up 2 hits and no runs, but he also hit a home run. So he was kind of a one-man wrecking crew. I think we won the game like 13-0. But I remember I was in my dorm in the common area. We were all watching the game, and of course they were all Cardinal fans because they were all rooting for the Cubs to lose. So and then Sutcliffe just came out there and shoved, not only with his arm but with his bat. It was like, oh my gosh, we are unstoppable. But I was so excited. Oh yeah, this is what I live for. I've never seen it before, but now I know my purpose in life. So Sutcliffe came back to pitch Game 5 in San Diego, and we probably left him in a batter or two too long, and that's when San Diego made the comeback and eventually beat him. He was 16-1 with the Cubs that year. Came over with a 5-4 record or 4-5 record from Cleveland. Finished the year 16-1 with the Cubs, won the Cy Young, and then won that first playoff game. And then finally in that last game, about the 6th inning, the 7th inning, that the Padres finally got to him. So, but the Rick Sutcliffe game 1 of the playoffs.
Well, my number 4 in the American League of performances is 1985 George Brett. And George Brett is 32 at this time. And what makes this special for me is George Brett, he wasn't named the captain of the team, but everybody knew that was George's team. And they would have great regular seasons, and the Yankees would just knock them out. And finally in 1980, they got to the World Series, and the Phillies were just a dynamic team and beat them. But this is 1985, and finally they get into the playoffs, and they're playing the Toronto Blue Jays, and it goes 7 games. And the Royals went 4-3. George played all 7 games, of course. He had 23 at bats and 8 hits, and hit a 348 average and 6 runs, 5 RBIs, 2 doubles, 3 home runs, 7 walks, and only 5 strikeouts. You could not strike out George Brett. He played incredible defense, and he put that team on his back and carried them. Over the years, he had different teammates and everything, and George was one of those guys. They tried to pitch around, but when it came to it, you would see, oh no, there's men in scoring position. Who's coming up? Oh, George Brett. Oh, we got to get this next guy out or we're in trouble. And of course, with George batting behind you, you're going to get pitches to hit. And George Brett is just that kind of year where you knew George is going to come through. And 85, and the reason I mentioned this too, I'm a Cardinal fan, but 85, when they got to the World Series that year, and I thought we had them on the ropes. I even had fireworks outside set up this, and then the Don Dingerger call, which still, I hear that and it just, oh, Vince, it's just like I get heartburn thinking about it. And I had to take all my fireworks down. I said, well, we'll be shooting them off tomorrow. And that didn't happen. And George Brett is a real reason, the big reason of that. I mean, and they had Brett Saberhagen too that year. But George Brett, I just, when somebody gets on fire like that, you just don't pitch to them. And George Brett took out Toronto and then took out the Cardinals. So I'm going 1985 George Brett. And he was already a superstar at that point, but that was just added more to that legacy of George Brett.
Very good. My number 4 is game 1 of the 2010 playoffs. Roy Halladay no-hit the Reds 4-0. And I was not around during Don Larson's perfect game, but, being a stupid baseball nerd, I've read all about it and everything. And I thought, you'll never see a no-hitter again in the playoffs. And I'm watching this Roy Halladay game. And, sometimes you're watching, if it's not your team, you're watching, but you're not paying too close attention. I remember about the 6th inning, I looked at the box score and I thought, he hasn't given up a hit yet. And I really started watching, and he just got better and better as the game went on. And I think was it Brandon Phillips, the last hitter? And when he grounded out no hitter, I thought, my gosh, that is so cool to see. I'll probably never see that again, especially being that pitchers no longer pitch complete games. But to watch such a great veteran like Roy Halladay, and I think that may have been his first playoff appearance, and he just went up there and no hit a really good hitting Reds team. So that's my number 4.
Oh man, I have a family that are in-laws that are Reds fans, and they were talking, so they were excited, and I said, "Hey, you guys, you could have not made the playoffs and not got no hit. That was an exclamation point put on that season for them. Oh, what a player! Well, my number 3, as we work our way up to number 1, is Vince. The thing that I'm so amazed about this guy is baseball's a game of failure. You 10 at bats. If you only get out 7, you're a incredible ball player. Everything is just numbers, and it's about failing. I mean, every pitcher gives up home runs. You walk some people, most. I mean, there's very few that don't. But this guy's about as close to perfect, and this was the moment it clicked in my head. Like I would see his stats. I didn't get to watch him every day. But in 2003, Mariano Rivera, at the age of 33, now by this time there's 2 rounds in the playoffs, so he had to pitch through 2 rounds. Mariano Rivera, he at 33 years old, he pitches the first round against the Minnesota Twins, and the Yankees win 3-1. Yankees always beat upon the Twins, and in the divisional round, in the championship round in the American League, it was Boston Red Sox, and that went 7 games. And Mariano Rivera was unhittable. If he went to a game, if you look at his lifetime stats, I've never seen anything like it. He's the closest thing to perfection that there is. He'll get you out more than any other, I think, player was Mariano Rivera. I'm really enamored by this guy. And that playoff series, in those 2 series, he was 1-0 with 4 saves in 6 games. But in those 6 games, he pitched 12 innings. They used him a lot. And he had 10 strikeouts, no walks. His ERA in those 12 innings was 0.66. What else can you say? He's just one of those guys. If you made like a painting of all the greats in baseball and you put a reliever up there, you would put Rivera. And that series, those 2 series, just stabilized it for me. And if you were going to beat the Yankees, you had to get ahead of him and keep him out of the game. And that's exactly what Florida Marlins did. That was the year the Yankees got to the World Series with all those players that won so many titles, and Florida Marlins beat them. Now, they had a lot of free agents on that team. They stacked the deck too. But I was glad to see Florida beat them. But Rivera really didn't get to pitch much because Florida would jump out in an early lead, and they didn't get to use him a whole lot. So number 3 for me was that year of 2003, Mariano Rivera.
Well, number 3 for me happened in the 2015 playoffs, where Daniel Murphy, second baseman for the Mets, just went psycho. He played against the Dodgers and the Cubs in the playoffs. And in those 2 series combined, he had 7 home runs, 11 RBIs, 1.115 OPS. For the year, he had hit 14 home runs in 2 playoff series. He hit half of that. He hit 7. And when the Cubs were playing the Mets in the National League Championship Series, which really wasn't a contest, they they smoked us really bad. I kept asking, well, not I was asking the TV, but man, why are you pitching to him? Why do you pitch to him? He is hotter than a firecracker. Yeah. If 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 I managed it, there are certain players you're going to be very careful. Aaron Judge, if there's a runner scoring position, he's walked, no
Yes.
problem. But the other criteria is if you got a player who is red hot, don't go back to the stats and say, well, he only hit 14 home runs. He's hot right now. Pitch around him. Make someone else beat you because sometimes it's not the best bat in your lineup that's going to beat you. It's the hottest bat. And Daniel Murphy, he put the Dodgers or the Mets on his back, and they defeated the Dodgers and the Cubs in the playoffs. Took them all the way to the World Series where they lost to the Royals. Um, Murphy eventually did have a stint with the Cubs, and I believe he also had a stint with the Dodgers. But yeah, for kind of a journeyman infielder to suddenly get that hot in the playoffs was kind of cool to see, even though it happened against my team.
All right. Well, my number two, Vince, and this is 1989. That's the year I was in the Navy. I really just read the paper that year. I didn't get to see that many games. Went to a few up in Seattle in person, but didn't get to see too much. But this was the year that Ricky Henderson, Vince, Ricky Henderson is one of my all-time favorites. I've never seen a guy with so much confidence. He talks about himself in the third person. When he's on first base, Ricky's going to go to second. Now, PCA has a little bit of that, but Ricky Henderson's, I don't know. Well, first of all, he's so talented, and you just knew he was going, and nobody could stop him. Well, this was the year he was with the Yankees, and he came back to Oakland in the middle of the season. And that season, he had an 8.7 WAR. My gosh. And he's a leadoff man. He's not a home run hitter, but he's just a phenomenal player. 126 walks and 66 Ks in that season. Ricky was on fire. He's 30 years old that year. But, if you look at Ricky's career, he had 25 years in Major League Baseball, and he played until he was 44 years old, and he looked like an Adonis. He looked chiseled at 44 years old. Oh, man, that guy, I tell you what, there was just something special about him. And that year in the playoffs, the Oakland A's are going to play the Toronto Blue Jays, and they beat them 4-1. And then they go on to sweep the Giants, and that's the year of the earthquake when it was the Bay Series World Series. But what I'm focusing on here is that Toronto Blue Jay series. Ricky went 6 for 15. He hit 400. He had one double. He had a triple. He had 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. He stole 8 bases in 5 games. Got caught 0. Ricky don't get caught. And he had 7 walks and not 1 strikeout. I've never seen a performance like that. People, you would think with the A's, oh no, here's Kosenko, here's McGuire, here's the other Dave Henderson, they had Walt Weiss, Carney Lansford, all these great players. But Ricky Henderson was the one you had to watch out for because if he got on base, that's pretty much a triple. If you walked him, he's just going to cause chaos. He messed up all the pitchers, which now made them have to face these incredible hitters, and Ricky's out there causing chaos on the base pads. I've never seen anybody disrupt a World Series or a playoff and a World Series that year like Ricky Henderson. That might have been his greatest year. So I'm going to say 1989, Ricky Henderson is my number 2.
Well, my number 2 is going to go back just the year before 1989. It's Oral Hershiser, 1988, and they're playing the Mets in the playoffs. And he started games 1 and game 3. So he had 2 days rest in between starts, and he won both games. And then in game 5, he came out of the pen and got a save on 1 day's rest. And then a few days later, he shut out the Mets in game 7. So he pitched 4 times in that series, had 3 victories and a save. And that was the culmination of that year where he finished with 56 and a third, I think, shutout innings. He carried that momentum into the playoffs and then into the World Series. He was just unconscious. So the best pitching performance I've ever seen. I wasn't around for Gibson's season, but that second half of the season for Hershiser was just incredible. And then he carried that into the playoffs, and he really rose to the occasion.
That
So
was a
that's
good that was a good one, Vince. I remember that very well. Well, my number one, drum roll, please. And I may have a little favoritism here, but it's 2004 David Ortiz. And I'm going to give a little backspin on this because David Ortiz came up with the Minnesota Twins, and he played 6 years, 6 seasons there. And I'll be honest with you, they were kind of, I mean, he was a major league player, but I think his WAR was only through 6 years, like 8.4 or something like that. I mean, he was up and down. He had power, but nothing really special. So in 2003, he goes over to the Red Sox, and he has a much better year. He's on a much better team. But that winter, I don't know if you remember this, Vince. So there was a paper leaked a story about 100 players that had they did urine test and something was in their urine. They didn't say what it was. They didn't say PEDs, but it's something now that would probably not be allowed. Maybe it's something you take with your trainer or something like that. So anyway, that always kind of, and so I was thinking, ooh, I wonder if he's going to be as good now that they're watching that. And in 2004, this is when the Big Poppy legend kind of was born. But Vince, he was 28 years old at that time, so he had been around. And that year in the playoffs, they played the Angels in the first round, swept them. They ended up playing the Yankees. The Red Sox played the Yankees in the second round. And I remember there was a game that went like 15 innings. It was on forever. And every time it looked like the Yankees had a beat, Ortiz would come up with a hit. He was unconscious. He just got a hit every time up when they needed the big hit. And anyway, so in that series, he had a lot of, in those 2 series, he was 18 for 42, 2 doubles. He had 4 home runs, 7 walks, 9 Ks, and he hit 425. Now, that's pretty impressive. But then he goes on, and the Red Sox, only the Cubs had a longer streak without a world championship at that time. And the Red Sox broke that streak against my beloved Cardinals. And David Ortiz was the MVP of the playoffs and the World Series. And to this day, so many people, including me and Vince, say, why did you pitch to David Ortiz? Like you were talking about Daniel Murphy, don't pitch to this guy. And this guy didn't just get hits. He hit 2 and 3 run homers. And I thought the Cardinals on paper had a better team. Boy, was I wrong. Ortiz led those Red Sox to their first championship in a long, long time, and couldn't happen to a better guy. And he goes on to have a Hall of Fame career. And I think that was the year that set him up to be a legend. At that time, he was just a guy with a lot of potential. And after that playoff series, he's the king of Boston and one of the kings of baseball. So my number one all time, and especially in my lifetime, since they've had the playoffs, is David Ortiz of the Boston Red Sox.
there's 2 hitters in my lifetime that really rose to the occasion in postseason. Reggie Jackson and David Ortiz. They had the ability. They were great players to even elevate a little further in the playoffs and just carry their teams. So, can you guess what my number one is?
You're number one. Vince, I don't know. I'm wiped out right now after all this. You're number one, a National League playoff. Vince, you're going to have to tell me.
Game 5, 2005. The Cardinals are down 4-2, top of the ninth, 2 on. The crowd in Houston is going bananas. You can't hear a thing. And Pujols sends the ball to Jupiter. And I've never seen a stadium get that quiet so fast. And it was, even as a non-Cardinal fan, it was like, holy cow. I can't, not just that he hit the home run, it was such a no-doubter because he did hit it so far and so hard. The crowd, as soon as he hit it, the crowd just went silent. Like, what just happened? Now they did come back to win the next game, but that was the coolest thing I have ever seen in the playoffs because Brad Lidge was in that streak where he was unhittable, and they got a couple guys on, and Pujols is up there, so you've got the best reliever at the time in the National League against the best hitter in baseball at the time. And when he connected with that ball, such a no doubter, and the crowd just went silent. I almost thought, did I lose the sound on the TV? And I realized, oh, the announcers are talking. So yeah, that's just the
Yeah.
crowd went deflated. And I think that's every athlete's dream is to win a big game at home and have all the home accolades. But right underneath that is to just shove it in another team's home stadium and just send everybody home disappointed. And Pujols did that. So what a fantastic memory.
Yeah, that's a perfect number one because you talk to any fan of our age, our Cardinal fan, and you can remember where the ball went. You can remember Andy Pettit on the bench going, "Oh my God!" You could
Yeah.
read his lips, and you're like, "Oh," and you were just stunned. And those are the moments that it's always in your mind. You never forget those special moments.
Yeah. And my favorite quote was when Houston was flying to St. Louis, the pilot said on the radio, if you look out to the left, you can see such and such, such and such. Look out to the right, you can see Albert Pujols' ball. And all the Astros said that loosened us up. That we just could not stop laughing. And it was like, okay, we still got baseball to play. Let's put it behind us. So
Yeah, that's a great team too. That Astro team.
JJ, I've got the 1988 score, photo quality right here in
Hey,
my hand.
hey, very good. And I went back. I bought two of these packs. The last time we did this, I opened up. It's the first series. I opened the third series last time. First series of those big Topps baseball cards
Oh,
right
cool.
there. So I think there's five of the little cartoons on the back.
I'll go first so you can show your cool cards. We'll finish.
Oh, listen to you. Your cards are cool.
All right. I'll say one Hall of Famer here.
I'll go Tuesday.
Former Cub, former Royal, speedster, Willie Wilson.
Oh, I like Willie Wilson.
He
Yeah.
swung at everything and had the great quote, if I wanted to walk, I'd be a mailman.
That's a good one.
Oh, former All-Star, former Rookie of the Year, a great player, Wally Joyner.
Oh, Wally's World. Yes. Also a Kansas City Royal player.
Yep, finished in Kansas City. So, oh, former Cub, former Angel, tragic ending. The late Donnie Moore.
Oh, yes.
Well, I'm getting some all stars here. Former all star. A lot of people think this guy should be a Hall of Famer. From the Big Red Machine, shortstop Dave Concepcion.
Outstanding defensive player.
Um, one of the best, Chris Berman nicknames. For the Texas Rangers center fielder, Odabe Young again McDowell.
That's a classic.
Uh, Great moments in baseball. Do you remember Fenway Park, October 4th, 1948?
Oh, I don't.
The Indians won the World Series.
Oh, their last World Series.
Oh, former Cub, former Indian, great DH, All-Star. Gosh, listen to these home run totals. 28, 33, 28, 32, 30, 22, and nobody ever talks about him. Andre Thornton.
Yes. All-star player, outstanding guy.
Yeah. Pitcher for the Mets, John Mitchell. I don't know. Oh, former Texas Ranger, former Cub, Scott Fletcher, Scooter Fletcher.
I remember him.
That former Tiger, former Blue Jay, and his son was a decent ball player, Mr. Cecil Fielder.
Oh, yeah.
Um, Former Philly pitcher Don Carmen. I do not remember Don Carmen.
I don't either, Vince. I don't remember that name.
Oh, former outfielder for the Seattle Mariners, Mr. John Christensen, fourth outfielder.
I don't remember him.
Former All-Star for the Giants, Mr. Atlee Hammaker.
Oh yeah, I had a couple big years with them.
Catcher for the Yankees and also for the White Sox. That's right. Joel Skinner,
Yes.
Leonard's brother.
Hey.
Uh, Outfielder for the Reds, and I think he's playing for the Giants here, Eddie Milner.
Yeah. Okay. It was solid.
Eddie Milner, the Cubs are playing the Reds, and Chuck Rainey is on the mound for the Cubs, who did not have great stuff, and he had a no-hitter in the ninth, 2 outs. Eddie Milner comes up, laces a single into center field. After the game, Eddie Milner said, "I've never been a part of a no-hitter, and I don't intend to be."
Hey, there. That's a good quote.
Another former All-Star, the late great Fernando Valenzuela, former Cardinal.
Through great screwball.
Oh, I love this guy. Former Giant, former Minnesota Twin. Um, uh, just the missing piece, the from '91 that brought the Twins to World Series, Chili Davis.
Yes. Had played for a lot of teams and was a very solid player.
And this guy's managerial career was better than his pitching career, John Farrell.
Okay.
No, absolutely no Hall of Famers.
Well, I think I only have 7 cards in this set. 3, yeah, I think it's 7. So I'm going to probably say 1 Hall of Famer.
I'll say 7.
7. Oh man. Well, the first one. Hey, I know you like this guy. You were a fan of the Royals out there, and this guy was a very good pitcher, Mark Gubazon.
Oh yeah, Gooby. Yep,
Yeah, very good player.
does play by for the Angels.
Yeah, he was named to the Southern League All-Star team in 1983. So that's a little something about him. Milwaukee Brewer Greg Brock. I remember that guy.
Oh, played for the Dodgers too.
You're right. I think he did come up with the Dodgers.
You know what I don't like about him?
What's that?
He's freaking good looking.
Well, yeah, he's a matinee idol. Look at that guy right there. He looks like one of those models on the Sears catalog right there, showing off that.
I hope he's bald now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. This is Seattle Rich Renteria.
Don't remember.
I think he's a Hall of Famer for his mustache. That's a good stash right there, Vince.
Good one, yeah.
Yeah, very well maintained. All right. Oh, guy had a nice long career, played with a couple of teams. John Smiley.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he's playing in Pittsburgh. Well, he is a Pittsburgh Pirate, but I've noticed that wall with the emblems on the above the wall right there.
Yeah.
We got a Hall of Famer. Hall of Famer alert. The one, the only, Carlton Fisk.
Oh, Pudge.
Oh, yeah.
Pudge.
Very durable right there. That's the old White Sox hats right there. You might think it's maybe the Indians or the Guardians, but that's a White Sox uniform back then. All right. Oh, well, not a Hall of Famer, and it's his own fault, but the one, the only, Roger Clemens. Yeah, enough said on him, Roger Clemens.
I'm not going to needle him anymore.
Good. Oh, man, that was a good one. All right. The guy, what a career. I don't think he was happy in St. Louis. He had other teams he played for, especially the Yankees, but Tino Martinez. And he's playing there for Team USA.
That was so bizarre when he came to St. Louis because
that's an odd signing.
Yeah, he didn't like it here. And
no.
I don't think he took to the teammates or anything. I think he's kind of a jerk here. But
well, maybe we rubbed him wrong. I mean, we weren't the Yankees. We're not the Yankees. And we were hoping some of that Yankee magic would rub off on us. It just didn't work out. Sometimes you get a player and it just, for whatever reason, either it's the team or the player, it just doesn't fit. And that was one of those square players in a round hole. That don't even sound right, ladies and gentlemen. Forgive me for even saying that.
Something like that. Yeah. We all know what you're talking about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, that's it, Vince, for my cards right there.
Okay, well, I'm going to get off here and I'm going to go watch the Brewer game with the kids, and
Yeah.
Evelyn and Tony are here, and they need to go home and get ready for. They got to work in the morning, so I need to
All
get up
right.
there and see them before they leave. But JJ, it's been fun, and we'll do this again next week, and we'll
Yes,
have
sir.
more playoff talk.
Sounds good to me.
All righty, have a good one.